Well, let's quickly wrap up this section with Mark's question. Could you pick someone at random for me?
Yeah. Could we be extra random?
You can pick whoever you want. It doesn't matter to me.
The cameraman? Can we do that?
Can you get off the camera for a second? Or can you do that? If you can't, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Do you want to be part of this?
Can everybody hear George? Do you want to hand these down to George?
Yeah.
Have you got a pen there, George?
Yeah.
I want you to think of a private piece of information. You did have a pen until you dropped it. I want you to think of a private piece of information, and I want you to write that piece of information down, right? So, yeah, just write it down. In fact, instead of writing it, don't, just put it in your pocket, it's fine. I'll just try this without. Put it into your pocket and put the pen away.
Put it down?
Yeah, let's create a triangle of telepathy. Have you got your phone on you, Fred?
Yeah.
Let's try to answer this question that Mark asked in the most sensational way, right?
Okay.
Go to your calculator for me. Mark said, do you ever find that there's a time where this becomes less powerful? And I said, the only time I only ever really perform this is when the spectator says, I'm not giving you my phone, I want to type in a code and you're not going to touch it.
Right, okay.
Right. So this is important, George. You're not thinking of a code now, that's important.
No.
Okay, that's good. That's important, right? Keep it towards yourself, Fred. So let's pretend that you're the angry spectator that don't want to hand me the phone, don't want me to look at this. So I say, okay, well, we'll create a code that surrounds events in your life and only your life. It's not going to be important to anybody else. Quickly punch in the 4-digit number that. Wait a second. Let's make it the year that you were born, just quickly. Now, bearing in mind, if I went around and I were to ask everybody in this room, the likeliness is that the year that they were born would be different to the year that Fred were born, right? Now press a plus key for me, Fred, and I want you to think about a year that's special to you, not one that's on Facebook, not one that's profilable in any sense, one that you're just going to think of now that you've not thought of for a while, but genuinely is important to you. And when you've got that, press a plus, punch that in 4-digit form. Now again, bearing in mind, Chris, if this were you, this would be a different year.
Sure.
If this was Benny, this would be a different year. If this were Joe, this would be a different year. For every single one of us in this room, based on probability, the likenesses would be different. Press the plus key and put your age in, and then press equals. So, bearing in mind, let's say we were born on the same year, which I think by looking you can tell we wasn't. My special year occurred in 2010, which I'm assuming is different to yours. Let's say I put +5 because it's been 5 years since my special year. The likeliness is that would be different to yours, right?
Way different.
So press plus and the amount of years it's been since yours. So even if coincidentally we happened to be born on the same year, he's putting in the amount of years, that'd make the total astronomically different, as you just heard. Press equals, you have a total there, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember this total?
Yep.
Lock the phone. This should be like 4 or 5 digits long.
It's 4 digits.
Okay, you can erase all that out, it's fine, I'm not going to touch it, put that away. So, let's have a look at this. George, you're thinking of a private piece of information.
Yeah.
Fred, you've created a pin code, you're playing the rowdy spectator that doesn't want me to touch your phone. Well, let's make this interesting. In your mind, Fred, mix the numbers up, so just keep thinking of different numbers in that series of numbers. George, you keep thinking of letters in that piece of information, just keep changing your mind, right? So the first thing I'm feeling here, there's a 0 in yours, yes? And an R in yours, yes, look at me. A 2?
No.
No, look at me, look right, no, it's a 3. Perfect, look at me. An A in yours, yes?
Yeah.
Yours starts with a 4.
Yeah.
An I? Not an S in there, is there? Yes, an S as well. Yes, look at me. 403. Just so everybody's on the same page, by the way, he's thinking of his astrological sign now. Look at me. Aries, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
4030.
Yeah.
And that's 2 for 2. That's a triangle of telepathy, right?
Mom, wake up Grandma. She's about to learn some stuff from Peter Turner. That's right, Peter Turner is joining us on this week's Saturday Sorcery. G'day champion, how are you? Welcome back to Murphy's Magic. My name of course is Beau Creamer. Thank you so much for joining me on this absolutely perfect November Saturday. Now you've just seen Peter Turner do a star sign and pin number divination, and we're not going to learn that today. You can learn that from the At the Table lecture. But what we are going to learn today is one of the pin number effects on how to get into this. But before we see a performance of this and we learn how it's done, I do want to tell you about this week's giveaway. If you want a chance to win the Mentalism bundle, all you need to do is stick around till later on in the episode and I'll show you how to enter. that giveaway. Now this is an excerpt from Peter's at the table lecture when he was at Murphy's Magic. Now this lecture is so insane. There's so much information. There's so much good magic in here. Oh man, your mind is going to explode. If you want to check it out, full link in the description below. So let's jump straight over to Peter himself for a full performance and then the breakdown of how it's done.
So I'm Pete, your name is?
Jared.
Jared, it's
Nice
a
to meet
pleasure
you,
to meet
Pete.
you. I've flown in from the UK
Okay.
and I've been flown over here to read minds.
Read minds, all right.
Do you believe in the concept of being able to read somebody?
Absolutely.
God, this is great. We're off to a flying start.
Yeah, we're gonna do
Do you have like a mobile phone or something on you that has a code on it?
I do right here, yeah.
Right, can you open that up? Don't let me see when you do this. Open it up and go through the menu
Okay.
and go into your calculator. Now, there's a
Calculator.
specific reason why I'm asking you to do this. You'll understand in a moment.
Okay.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
I want you to punch in the code to the phone.
Okay.
That just means that you don't have to say this out loud and everybody at home can see what the code is. When you've done, lock the top of the phone, polish the screen. That means that you're rubbing off any evidence and there's no indication as to what code you've just punched in.
Okay. All right.
Right? So place it flat on the table. I want to prove that there's no way that you can just punch in random codes and hope this opens. So, hold your hand flat for me, Jared. If this doesn't work, it doesn't matter, but I'll try my best. Right? Like this.
Okay.
Now I'm going to try to read you to ascertain whether this is a convenient number or a memorable number or a mix of the two.
Okay.
Usually when we create a pin code, it's based off the back of an express lifestyle or a life-inspired event. So I feel with you straight away this is a mix of the two, but more so than anything else, this is a convenient number. So it tells me you live an express lifestyle. You are probably the sort of person, have you just moved?
I haven't, but I am trying to
You're
move.
just trying to move, that's
Trying
why
to
it's
move,
on the
yeah.
back of your mind. So
Yeah.
you need to get that out of there because I'm trying to focus on this.
Okay.
Do you ever use Facebook
Yes,
on here?
I do.
What about emails?
Yes.
Online banking?
Just started online
Just
banking.
started online
Yeah.
banking on there. Right, and the reason I'm asking is because there's only 4 digits that protect somebody from getting into that
Yeah.
and stealing a whole host of unsavory
A lot of my
information.
life, yeah.
Yeah. So what I want you to do is focus on that first digit for me. Look right at me. Don't say anything, but I feel this is probably a favourite number, so look right at me. Yes. 7. Look right at me. Do you know how to count in any other language?
Can I count in any other language?
Yeah, just a yes or no.
Yes.
Can you think of the second digit to this code and just imagine saying it to me in a different language in your mind? Now the reason I'm telling you to do this is because I believe no matter where you are in the world, no matter what language you speak, our brains are communicable in any language.
I'm saying it in 2 different languages.
Okay, this is perfect.
I'm trying to trick you.
This is a 1. Like I said, no matter where we're from, our minds translate this. Look at me. Let's hold this down. Another 7. If this opens, you've managed to do this perfect. Because this is not just a one-way thing. It's not about me receiving thoughts. You've got to be able to
setting thoughts.
transmit them in order for me to receive them. A 3.
Yes! Oh my god! Dude,
Thanks,
that
man.
was amazing. Now you're gonna read my.
Now you have to change your
passcode.
passcode.
I know, I have to, right? Cheers to that, buddy.
Have you seen last week's free tutorial yet? Make sure you do. Card on screen right now, or the link is in the description. Make sure you check it out. It's an absolute feast for the eyes, and it's completely free. Go treat yourself. Now, I'm so sorry, Peter. I need to interrupt for just a second for the mid-episode giveaway. But before we get into this week's giveaway, I want to find out who won last episode bundle. So drum roll, please. Congratulations, my friend. You're the winner of last episode's bundle. So if you could message me on our social media, doesn't matter if it's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, whatever it is, send me a DM and I'll get back to you and send you your prize. Now on to this week's giveaway. If you want a chance to win the Mentalism bundle, all you need to do is comment below what 4 digits would you use for a passcode. It doesn't have to be your real passcode. Any numbers will do. Then next week, I'll draw someone out at random and you'll be announced in the next episode. So good luck. All right, champion, ready to check out more videos just like this one? Make sure you check out our YouTube channel where we drop new videos every single day. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe because why not? Save yourself coming back later.
So it's normally done with more than one person. I prefer to do it with two, but I know that a lot of people ask me, can this just be done with one person? Now, I know that we had the added bonus of having the camera there so that they could verify the number, and with the DSLR, you couldn't really see the screen.
Right.
That's just a shooting issue. But,
Sure.
yeah, it's normally done with two people, and what would happen is, so this is the byplay of events. The first person to take out their phone, they'd unlock it, they'd go to the calculator. This is so they don't have to say the code out loud, essentially, you know. They punch it in, they give the phone to somebody else. This means that they don't have to tell that person that they're not moving their lips in any sense. It just makes it super fair.
That's great.
They look at it, they can take it out with their phone if they want, you know, they lock the phone, they polish.
So you have the justification for putting it on a calculator.
Yeah.
So that you can show it to someone else.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it.
They don't have to
vocally.
say, and they can take it out, you know.
Right.
It's not an issue. They can take it out if they want as well, and they lock the phone. And
Would you like to get into it now? Would you like to just sort of
I'm going
before you
to.
explain it, or
Well, I'll explain the sort of technique around it, and then I'll
Okay.
get into the method.
Okay.
So then what happens is they lock the phone, they polish it, they hand it to somebody else. So if there's three people at a table, this is perfect. So they hand it to somebody else then punches in random codes. It doesn't unlock. And I think there's a beautiful moment there where it shows you can't just type in a random code and this,
right?
you know, it just unlocks.
Like it's some sort of weird app that you would put on someone's phone. We know
That's
how
it,
lay people
you know.
think, and that might be.
And that's it. I mean, and what's beautiful about this is you don't really touch the phone. You know, it just gets put flat on the hand, and you hover your hand over the top of it, and that's it. Then you punch in the digits, and boom, the phone opens up. Right.
A great thing that you did as well, and I noticed, I sort of pointed this out while it was on camera. You always create the sense of drama. And I think that's really something I've noticed about you and about your style, and that's why you get such great reactions, is because you put something at stake. And just the small notion of mentioning, well, what do you keep on your phone? Your banking information, your email, so very personal things. So if someone had your PIN, they would be able to access all this information and possibly, you know, steal your identity. So there's this great sense of drama. Even though this is all for show, there is that implemented sense of drama, that seed of drama that's in the spectator, and now there's something at stake. So when he reacts, he's not only reacting to the trick, he's reacting to the fact that, yeah, you could have stole his phone and stole all his information if you wanted to.
It's
that's
the
great.
stuff in the bank account, the stuff on the Facebooks, the passwords from the email addresses.
It's a great setup.
It just has that air of being more than just a code, and the method here is really simple. So I'm going to get into that last, because for me it's ultimately not the most important point. The most important point with this is what I call the sprinklings, the little bits that go around the effect. What you saw here is just a quick variation, but there's a really cool thing that I do. I'll show you. So Joe, can you think of either a lie? Think of a lie for me, but don't say it out loud, and get one in mind. Right? Let's go again. Think of either another lie or a truth. So this time it's a lie. Let's do this again. Think of a lie or a truth. So you started with a lie and moved to a truth. No, sorry, the other way around. You started with you started with a lie and moved to a truth. There we go. And I could do this over and again, one more time, just for demonstrative purposes. So instantly this time, straight away to a truth, right? So, no, not that time? Okay. So did you change at the last second? Most of the time you can hit this. So let me tell you what's going on here. And I'll be bold with this. It really doesn't matter, because I have a solid out. So this is the sprinklings, right? And you can see here that Joe's not just lying for me, and genuinely did get 3 hits, and I normally wouldn't push for 4, right? But the way this works is, if you ask somebody to think of a lie, just watch which way their eyes go, right? Then you ask them to think of a truth, just watch which way their eyes go. So then you say either think of another lie or another truth. Be honest, at the end, did you repeat one of the lies or the truths?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why then I wasn't getting the tell, because it didn't move off, so I just had to take the guess, right? But you're watching for which way the eyes move, right?
It's like a tell.
It's a tell, yeah. It's a really, really beautiful tell, and this is what I do though. So let's say that the code was 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of just sitting there and saying the first digit's a 1, right? Yes. The first digit's a 2. Yes. The third digit's a 3, right? Yes. The fourth digit's a 4. It's very easy to do that, and every single person's capable of doing that. But what I really like is if I say, I'd like to figure out how you think about lying and how you think about telling the truth. Focus on the first digit for me. So in your mind, tell me a lie. So he tells me a lie in his mind, and I say, Also, now think of something that's true, and I'm just watching the difference in tells, and there's a beautiful reason why I'm setting this up. I'll do this 2 or 3 times. If I feel that you're stopping to give me tells like you did a moment ago, that's either because A, you're struggling to think of more things, or B, because you're wanting to lock me out, which I think, put under pressure, it's probably because you were struggling to think of more things that quickly, right? But this would be relaxed normally in a social situation. This is the beautiful line. Focus on that first digit for me now. Imagine seeing it in your mind and jump to another number, right? So now you're telling me a lie. This is what's beautiful, because there's such a beautiful little thing that goes on here, right? I know that if I said to each one of you here, think of the number 7 for me right now, and in your minds jump back to another number like the number 9 and tell when you've all got it in mind. The likeliness is that you're on a 3 or a 4, right? That's going to be the likeliness, because you're not going to jump right down to 1. I've said 9, so you're not going to jump to 8. You're not going to jump to 6. 5 seems a little bit too close. 3 and 4 seem really fair, but it doesn't even matter. That doesn't matter, because as long as you're getting the smiles, that's what's important, because that's all the confirmation everybody else needs. So that first digit, I'll say, so tell me a lie, jump to another number in your mind. So I know if he's on 1, it'll be 3 or 4. The same, just in the opposite direction, right? So I'll say, I know that you're feeling guilty about having to lie in this situation. And if they're with a girl, if they're with the girlfriend, there's this beautiful moment where I say, I know that you're feeling guilty about having to lie in front of your girlfriend, because I'd say you're quite an honest guy. And I say, because you're quite an honest guy, he's not going to turn around in front of his girlfriend and say, no, I'm not an honest guy. So you've got a beautiful...
You've put him into a corner.
That's it, it's a beautiful double bind, you know? So there's the double bind there, and I said, don't give me any clues. Don't say anything out loud, and I don't want you to react about anything from this point. So I feel one of the lies were about your body, right? And that's the first thing that I say. And I'll normally get a smile, because the first thing that jumps into his head is, I know what he means by that. And he thinks that I mean is manhood, right? So he starts to smile. She starts to smile because she knows what I'm implying, but because he's smiling, she thinks he's right. So I say, when I was asking you to think about the lies earlier, I feel one of these were about a body part, and I do this, a body part. But more interestingly, I think you only went, 2, 3 away from the number. And if I'm getting a really big smile now, I know that it's a 3 or a 4.
Right.
I say, so this is a 3 or 4, but, and the line but's the important line, because this is the universal language for stop. Because I don't want him to, at that point, say...
No, it was a 5.
No, it was a 5. I don't want that, right? I say, but, what's important?
Yeah, like anything else isn't important.
None of that's relevant.
Yeah.
What's important? All that tells me that the first digit is a 1. Boom. And when I hit that 1 now, that's all I ever told you I were aiming for anyway. So I'm saying none of that's important. So you react now at the number 1, which then confirms to every single person that's watching this, not only did I pick up on the lie that you were thinking of earlier on when I asked you to lie in your mind and never say it out loud, but I picked up on the lie of the number that you told as well and confirmed it with a hit of the first digit.
So let me try to wrap my head around this, so what you're doing, I mean, let me see if I understand, because a lot of times I think what the problem is with a lot of performers, myself included, I'm caught doing this, I'm sure as many of you are, is revealing the information sort of like you said prematurely, or not prematurely, just untimely, and in sort of a rushed manner, almost like yourself as a performer, you might be feeling guilty about having this information, you just want to get it out there and have the reveal, right? A lot of us, is your card the 6 of spades, right away. And then we wonder, well, why didn't I get a great reaction? I just did the same trick he did, and it's not. The method for the trick, the method is such a small part in this. It's really, as you see here,
sprinklings.
the delivery, it's all important. It overshadows anything else. And I even think that, and you talked about this as well, about missing.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that,
Sure,
because that's going to be very important later on. The sprinklings are important, and I'm not saying to overdo it. She might only show that process in the middle, so you might guess the first digit outright, and then in the middle take it up a notch. So I always think about the rule of 3s, and obviously with a code there's 4. So the first thing, you just hit it outright. The second thing, you might look like you're struggling slightly, miss it and then hit it. The third thing, then you'll start to tell them to lie, you guess it. The fourth thing, you tell them to really concentrate, and you start to tell them about them and why they chose the code. That's important. Mm-hmm. And when you saw this yesterday, you were like, my favorite line out of all that is, when you get the code, when you know what the code is, if you notice this is not like 1990 or 2010, you notice it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, whatever, you know that they live an express lifestyle. So you were saying straight away, that's my favorite line, because what I use is, there's normally 2 factors that come into play when deciding on a PIN code. One is a number based off of convenience, if we live an express lifestyle, and that'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, or it will be inspired by a memorable life event. So one event that happened in our life that just inspired us to commit to that code, that would mean it'd be inevitably easy to remember the code in any given situation. So I normally point out the 2 different factors, and I say, but sometimes them factors merge. So if this is a number that was at first, years and years ago, something that was just typed in as an express number, but just based off the back of using it on every single debit card, of every computer, every phone, this has now become something that's ultimately memorable, and it's now become part of their life.
And you make it readable. I mean, because if you don't set it up in that way, how else could you possibly read someone if you can't just be picking up on numbers that are in thin air? So you're convincing them that there is a technique to this, that there is a way to this, and just by saying that, sort of confirming that it's one of these 2, I mean, they obviously are going to make the connection, and now they're going to start to see what it is you're doing, and you're actually reading.
It's a process, yeah, it shows a process.
Yeah.
And just quickly jumping back to the lie thing, like I say, most of the time, if you take a good guess, you're going to hit with if it's 7, they jump back, it's going to be a 3 or a 4. If it's a 1, they jump forward. You think about what number you'd go for, and the likeliness is that they go for the same number or very close, because they're only springing from that number somewhere else. So just think about this for a few seconds. If you can guess the lie that never existed, that they never typed in, isn't it totally possible now to be able to guess the truth?
Sure.
You know, because it makes it credible and possible before you've even got to it. And that's what all this is about. It's not about revealing the information straight away. This is about making people feel like you know them. And that's what it's, the code's the cherry on top of the cake. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about why they set this code. I want to talk about their lifestyle. I want to talk about, you know, like the guy on the video, have you moved recently?
Yeah, and you got a big hit.
And he's like, no, but I'm planning to.
Yeah, I'm planning on.
And I'm like, I thought that was on your mind. Just get it out of the way for me and focus on this.
And he said, okay.
And he's like, okay.
He's like, as if that was like in the front of his mind and he couldn't think of anything else.
Just move it.
It's a great hit.
And it's not, and to be 100% honest, that's nothing more than a stock line that I find that hits quite a lot.
It's a Barnum statement.
It's just a Barnum statement that I find hits quite frequently because it ties over. But I want to get into that area of stuff more later on. But I just find that's a beautiful moment where I make him feel not guilty, because that's the wrong word, but almost like that's why I've not started picking up on the numbers, because this thing about you moving stopping me from getting to those numbers. And what better way to make him feel like, damn, this guy's inside my mind.
Yeah.
See, I mean, how would he know that piece of information? It could be anything. These are all little convincers that help people feel that they help people feel like you're inside the head. And it doesn't matter if you come across as being completely eloquent, it doesn't matter if you come across as being completely scripted or completely raw. None of that's relevant, because what is relevant is making them feel that you've not only connected on a social level, but you've connected telepathically. You know, you've connected in a way that nobody else has ever connected with them. And even if you just give them 5-6 minutes of demonstrations, and you've managed to prove that you genuinely can connect with them, make them feel like you can. To them, everything else is irrelevant. To them, there's not a method. It's just you're doing what you say you're doing. And the one thing that Chris will tell you has happened over the last few days when he's seen me doing this stuff to people, the questions that they ask me are not, when did you get into magic? How long have you been doing tricks for? It's like, so how long have you had these abilities? You know, how long have you been reading people for? Do the police ask you to help them on cases? And I say, look, you know, I'm not psychic. I just genuinely, I can do what you guys do, just more intuitively. And that's not, you know, that's not a lie in any sense. We have a Skype call.
Hey, we have a Skype caller. How's it going?
Yeah, good evening.
How are you?
Hey.
What's your name?
Thomas from Germany.
Thomas from Germany. Ja, wie geht es dir?
Sehr gut, danke.
Ja, gut, also, yeah, good, super. You have a question for Peter?
Yeah.
All right, Peter.
I wanted to ask if you ever thought about using the calendar peak.
Yes,
I don't know if I can talk more about this.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that later on, because I'm going to segue into, and that's the bit that we're talking about for the the erase thing. So I am going to get into that, I promise.
Okay, thanks.
Great.
No
Well,
problems.
hey, thanks for calling
Thank you
in,
for
Thomas
calling
from
in.
Germany. That's amazing. What
you.
time is it over there, if you don't mind me asking?
Almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you for staying up, Thomas.
Do you have school tomorrow, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying up,
We
Thomas.
appreciate your passion. Thanks for calling, and we'll get to that question later.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you. Cheers, Thomas. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to turn this. First, I'd like to show you how easy this is. So do you want to unlock the phone?
Yep.
So keep it towards yourself for me. Don't let me see the code. In fact, I'll show you what this looks like from your perspective. So go through the menu and go into the calculator.
Uh-oh.
Take your time, there's no rush. So at this point, whilst he's doing this, I want you all to think about the PIN codes for your ATM or Visa cards, right? Have you done that?
And just leave your visas right here.
Right? Has anybody, just by show of hands, got their Visa card with them? Okay, so everybody in the room, that's good. Can you punch in the code to the phone? Don't let me see it. And I'll just do this presentation list just to quickly show you how this is. Just pass the phone across when you've done that. Please remember that number, right? You got it? Lock the top of the phone for me. In fact, do you want to pass it back here, Chris? So you guys know the code, right? So hold your hand flat for me, and if this doesn't work, it doesn't matter, but I'll try my best here, right? So I know Chris lives an express lifestyle. I know that Chris needs to access this phone on the move, regardless of whether the thumbprint thing works. I know that this is probably a series of numbers that are repeated, and let's cut the presentation right down to where it is. This would be 4 zeros, and then the phone will open up and there it is, right? So even from this side, you guys are like, what?
And this isn't set up.
This is not
He
set
doesn't
up.
know my passcode.
When I show you this, it's...
Obviously, it wasn't hard to guess my passcode if you had to guess, but I mean, that was right on.
Yeah, but I've just did that quick to show you how fast this can be done. So this comes up like this, and you press this. That's it. That's essentially it, and you press this to exit. So that's it. So let me show you the move close up from this angle. As soon as I take the phone comes like this. If it comes like this, I then take the phone like this, turn it round. This then comes up as I come up, so this is this. I just punch this. I press this as I turn, and when I turn back round, it's absolutely normal.
And it all happens within 2-3 seconds. We see on the clip before, I don't know if you remember, but that was so fast.
It is, it's over very quickly, and if you want to watch the performance of that, you can rewind this at any point.
And once again, before, I hate cutting you off, but once again, the justification is very important here, because what Peter goes on about is, I want you to punch it in so that the person next to you, because for one person this obviously works as well, but for two people there's a beautiful justification there where you say, I want you to, so you can show another person, just like I showed you, because I don't want to tell you, he might be reading what I'm saying or he might hear me, so this is no voice, I'm just showing you. And I think that's a great way to sort of justify that.
In a couple of moments I'm going to show you how you can take that out of the calculator and lock it, just in case you feel guilty. I never feel guilty about doing this. The reason I never feel guilty about doing this is because it's in the presentation, and even if somebody swipes up, we'll come to that in a moment, swipes up to access the calculator, you're still going to floor them with this, I promise you, right? So the points that I want to make is this, like Chris said, the justification is ultimately important, is I want you to do this because A, I want you to show somebody else so you don't have to say this out loud, and this is the second one, and this were beautiful. This is something you do with billets. Mark Shandow was the first person that I saw doing this with this particular this iPhone move. I called it Simply Overlooked. He'd say, and pass it to the second person, and this means that if you punched in the wrong code or you're telling a lie in any sense, I'm going to pick up on that and we're going to count that as a hit, right? So then it gets locked, the phone gets polished, and it gets passed on, and then boom, you open the code and you're in. If you're performing with one person, it doesn't seem like there'd be a good justification. I had the camera, so it was great. I could say, show the camera, so that everybody at home knows what this is. And I find that seems really fair if you've got a camera. If you don't have a camera, don't worry. You just tell them to take it out and go into the calculator, and you say, the reason I'm asking you to do this is because there's going to be so much that's gone on through your day that's all going to be at the front of your mind, and I need to make sure that these numbers are prominent and right at the front of your thoughts. So just punch in the first digit and stare at it for a second for me. Now the second, the third, and finally the fourth digit, and just stare at that code for a few seconds and lock the phone. That just means that all that other stuff's been pushed to the back of your mind, and this is now on the front of your mind, and we're ready to start. And if it's one person, that's a perfect justification for this. You don't need to worry about anything else. It doesn't seem suspicious, you know. You're not limited to how many people you can perform this for. Like Chris said, we were performing for the Royal Ballet, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
The Sacramento Royal Ballet yesterday. And all I want to do is I want to show you these guys, because all I did is had the phone passed around to each of them. And I'm not going to show you the full performance again because I don't want to keep going over the same stuff. But I just want you to watch their reaction to this. So if there were one person at the table that might have figured this out, that had said something, there's one person that didn't feel this were possible, you know, these guys genuinely just, they went with it, and at the end, I think the hit sort of speaks for itself. So this is just the reaction clip of that. A 5? There we go.
How do you do that?
So thank you for helping me out, guys. And, so if you go back and look over that clip, watch the girl whose phone got opened. Go through what she mouths. Watch what she mouths. That's ultimately important because you need to see just what her reaction to this was. And she openly stated that she didn't believe in any of this. You know, she said straight away, well, you can use my phone. You could see she was skeptical at the start of this, but by the end of it, she'd said that, and she started asking me, you know, is there any way that I can do this to improve my life? Is there any way I can do this to improve what it is that I'm doing? And I never offer life advice. That's one thing I don't do. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I just, you know, said that these techniques could help improve your memory, but that's about it, and that's not going to help in a dance sense.
I have a nice question here, which is relevant to what you're saying and relevant to the effect. But is there a pin code effect that can be done in Android? So basically, what he's asking is let's say they don't have. Let's say you ask for a phone and they don't have one or something. Could you please explain why? I mean, if this can't be done with an Android, why that's not important?
Now, thank you so much, Peter, you absolute champion. And like I mentioned, there's so much good magic in there, like the passcode and star sign divination earlier on in the episode. And also a look into Peter's background, using bold methods. There's methods surrounding mentalism, plus you're also going to learn whether this works with an Android phone, and then the word/pin divination with that. You're also going to learn some more Pin Code Divination performance details, mentalism ethics, a performance of Michael Murray's calendar, the calendar explanation, and the spectator's pin divination performance. Then on to Peter's thoughts whether performing an effect multiple times cheapens it, with the story behind the backward pin divination, the backward pin divination explanation, then onto that star sign and number divination explanation, all mentioned in this lecture. So what I just showed you there of the passcode divination is only a small seed, a small piece of this whole lecture, and how it spreads into this incredible over 3 hours and 42-minute long explanational lecture. It is incredible. Make sure you check it out. Link in the description below right now. Now, I know you're incredibly busy, my friend, so I will let you get back to your Saturday. I'll see you on our Discord for our weekly jams, trivia, games, hangouts, and even more. On Tuesday for a special episode of Stumped. On Wednesday for a What's New This Week. Or next Saturday for another Saturday Sorcery. Now take care. See you later. Bye for now. Whoa, hey, whoa, what's that? Oh, you should definitely check out that. Oh, there's so much good magic in there. You won't regret it. Hey, whoa, hey, look at this bad boy. You should definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe, then watch that. Oh, it's a good day to treat yourself.